up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Rustoria Base Invaders, North America. Today we got 6 man. It's going to be a lot of exciting action, but I cannot do it alone. Today I'm joined in the casting booth by the one and only Blastrites. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I'm a little tired. It's Sunday. I'm trying to get the energy to actually do something. But other than that, I'm doing great.
I can definitely understand that. Energy a little bit low for me as well, but gonna be a lot of exciting action for sure. As obviously we've already had EU, we've had some action already come down, but for today, gonna be a whole new set of time, whole new set of teams, and whole new set of prize pool for these teams to win.
Yes, and we have, I think, 19 teams, or at least that's how many signed up. And they are mostly in 3 different areas on the map, so we'll see 3 main places to focus on.
Different places to focus on for that. But obviously the way it's going to work, obviously these players have had some time to build up their bases, a little bit of a grace phase where they can't really attack each other. Obviously they're going into this attack phase. They'll have 30 minutes of this attack phase to, do some PvP and not tear down each other's bases just yet. And that final hour and 30 minutes will be pretty much all heck breaking loose there and just fighting each other.
Yep, and they get, as long as their opponent is armed, they'll receive 1 point, and those points will lead up, and the winner of the attack phase gets an extra 10 points, and those definitely help. So the PvP is definitely an important part of it, not just the rating.
Those extra 10 points definitely do help to boost yourself to the top of the leaderboard. Like you said, it's not just about getting those PvP, definitely about rating, definitely about all around having a good team there. Obviously, if you lose a defense, if you lose your base, then you will be eliminated. No space on the leaderboard for you. But seeing this base design that we saw last week, kind of this apartment style, interesting building. It was kind of impenetrable from one of the ones we saw last week. There was one of the ones that was kind of built a little bit smaller and it fell a little bit earlier, but I do like this kind of crazy design. It's got a lot of different levels, a lot of different interesting peaks out of it.
Yeah, they adjust their building week by week. They'll add a little bit different. I think the bottom level has definitely widened since we first saw this team appear. So they're strengthening it, so it won't be foundy wiped like we've seen a couple of times in the past.
Yeah, don't want to get that foundation easily, a target easily take out large chunks of that base. So see what can happen with that one. But they're going to obviously be, in the middle of a couple other teams, it looks like. As, we see some more traditional bases around. It looks like some of the advent calendar type bases around them. But, obviously it's going to be important for these teams as time goes on to get out, expand into the world, and make sure that they try and take down their neighbors first. Because you take down your neighbors, then there's no one else around you to attack while you venture off into far distances.
Exactly, it's a safety thing. Is you take out the neighbors that are going to cause you the most problems. So we have a few. I mean, we still see people upgrading their base. So this is typically when they have like 1 or 2 members stay at home. In this case, there's 3 here for BFF, and you send the other ones out to go get those points for you. Maybe attack a heli or go get Bradley for those crate points.
Crate points do get to be important. Obviously, being worth 3 each, obviously you could get them from that Mr. Tank or from those helicopters that do kind of drop in. Obviously, those helicopters, they do take some time to get the points. Those fires on the crates, they take some time to expire and leave some time for other squads to venture over and maybe try to get the crates themselves. But, obviously everyone's going to see it, pretty much where that's going to drop. So once those do start to come in, could be a huge target for anyone that, needs points or just wants some points.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like one of the hardest things to do is, yeah, you could have taken heli down, but the location and if you are able to secure that area to get those crates. I mean, we've seen it so many times where another team will just come in, wipe out the original team when they thought they were safe and get all those points.
And steal those points easy peasy. But, obviously, that does have to go. It looks like there's already some PvP going on here, and it looks like that A team might own another team's base already, as you know, it looks like this base not fully upgraded. It looks like they weren't able to get out and get that going, but it looks like that, you know, this other team has been able to take some PvP points because this outer compound wall is completely open and open to them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for them, but it's one of those you have to get your building and you have to secure it as fast as you can. So you see a lot of these doors are placed on the bottom when they maybe should have worried about using that metal to finish upgrading the roof, prevent people from actually breaking in.
Exactly. Maybe a misuse of resources. Maybe it was just, you know, they are in a pretty packed area with a lot of teams around them. It could have been that, you know, they couldn't have found all that resources that when they tried to venture out, it was that these other teams being a thorn in their side. And it
Hmm.
ultimately will come down to, you know, if the TC is behind one of these doors, it's most likely going to be an easy raid for any team that really wants to get over to it. But you know, there are a lot of teams, so you know, it could be a contested raid when you know that timer does drop when the raid phase does start.
Yeah, and you see that Messi is the neighbor. So they've been watching this whole thing happen, and they realized, hey, as soon as attack phase, go get up there, secure that. Don't let them make build anymore or secure the area. Make it easier for us.
Yeah, make it easier for yourself. Get that, you know, top floor of it. Make sure any of the respawns that come through or, you know, any visible beds, you know, you can make sure to keep an eye out for to make it just harder for that team inside to respond to that. And you can see Messi, you know, they have definitely made the most of this, you know, position, getting themselves, like you said, into that first place position from all of those PvP kills. But it is also going to be Messi going to be venturing out towards this attack helicopter and looking to extend their lead even further. But you know, these crates are going to be on fire for a little bit, so it will give the opportunity, like we said, for maybe another squad to walk over here and fight them for it.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, they're sitting pretty. The only team is the one that they're camping out right now. And I mean, this is an easy 15 points as long as no other team decides to come out here.
Exactly. We'll see if any team does decide, though. 22 minutes left in this attacking phase for all of these teams during some PvP points, and then, you know, like we said, once that once that timer goes down, a lot of teams are going to look for their first raid target. Another kind of unfinished base here over here. It's good. It's better than some of the other ones we've seen. You know, it does have that full roof, but you know, only kind of half of that upper roof wall there as protection. A more important wall to have, but you know, able to hopefully get that fully repaired and fully up to date before that
Yeah.
timer does hit the raid phase.
Yeah, they really need to work fast because here are our winners from EU. There may have been a few changes with with the players themselves, but this was Mammoth, the team Mammoth, not Mammoth, who won EU. So these are one of the favorites for NA as well.
They're definitely a favorite. Seen them before. They've had success before, like you're talking about. So see if they can perform here in this one today. Obviously, you know, attack phase means less than we would say than the raid phase. It can get you some decent points, can help you out on the leaderboard, but when it comes down to it, I mean, it's going to be those 40 points from the TCs. It's going to be, you know, those defense points that are really going to come in clutch when it comes down to the raid phase. And I mean, 40 points right now could really, you know, change up the leaderboard. Any single team getting a TC at this point could pretty much put themselves in first place. So
Yeah, for sure. We see this one. We have some high qual in some of the locations. Look like they missed a couple panels, but for the most part, it's secure. It's gonna there's a compound there. It's gonna be difficult for somebody to get up there. Um, as long as I can finish it. But look, I don't see the furnaces. They're on the outside of it, so they'd have to actually venture out to get any more scrap metal. So that could be difficult, and that could be why they haven't finished upgrading.
that's true. They do have a lot of people around them. So venturing outside that compound wall, maybe not the best idea, but you know, maybe it's a tactical decoration there. They're like, you know, we're gonna try out a new design that might be weaker than other bases, but you know, it's gonna have a little bit extra flair and extra, you know, difference than some of the others.
Yeah, and this is our second place team. One move. They at least didn't change their name, so that makes it easier for us. So another team that is in contention, they have these other teams in the area to have to fight with those. So they may be in a little slower in the getting the points first off, as compared to Lays.
Might be a little bit slower to build that up, but once it comes time to get to that raid phase, might be able to jump it on through. 10 minutes expired here in this attacking phase. A third of it already gone. 2/3 of it still to go. And that next patrol helicopter, I believe, should be spawning here pretty soon. And you know that, obviously, opportunity for more points. Messi doesn't look like, it looks like actually they did claim some more points. They did claim some of those patrol helicopter points. So, you know, even boosting themselves up even further. They were also the team, I believe, that was standing on top of that pretty much broken down base. You know, if that comes down to it, I mean, if they get those 40 points right away, they're going to put themselves in such a huge lead. It's going to be hard for anyone to catch up.
And this nice little compound. I'm not sure what the purpose, other than maybe just aesthetics. But they have furnaces, and I guess that's the most important part. One is still cooking. And they actually have a couple nodes in there, which is nice and handy if they run out of resources and need to cook up something quick.
Exactly, can do that, but I like it. You know, nice little egg compound, nice little design there. Design, obviously, protein, build it up, and we'll see how it does fare when time does come through. But obviously, like you said, a couple panels on that one not fully fixed up. A couple bases are, you know, struggling just a little bit. As you know, when there are more and more teams around you, it's easier for them to stop you from building. And you know, that's not the best. You need your base fully built up when that attack phase does expire.
Absolutely. Let's see. So it's just some long range shots. There hasn't been much action. A lot of people from their compound shooting out anybody who's exploring, and that's one of the problems. Like with building so close to other people, is like you have to. It's hard to leave your base.
It really is. Yeah, they can just snipe you out, or that, or just, you know, put pressure towards your base. Just make sure you can't build, and cannot be a fun time. But that's where most of the action is going to reside. We've seen teams that, you know, if you build super far on the outskirts away from everyone, yes, you'll have pretty much a fully built up base, full resources, but know, it's the question of, will you have the mobility? Will you have the ability to walk over these long, arduous landscapes to make it towards these other bases and get those TC raids when, you know, those teams that might be more experienced are just going to place themselves in the middle of 4 or 5 other teams and have as many targets as they want to raid early on.
Yeah, very true. And Emperor, they're trying to tag Heli. I don't know if they got a shot off. It seems to be going farther away from them. But so it just didn't come in at the right angle for them, and they didn't have a shot. But out by themselves, we usually don't see this as a great idea. Yeah, you may last longer, but you have to travel farther to get those raids off, or you're isolated and there's not going to be anybody to counter a raid that may be happening on you. And then you're just screwed. I mean, because they can focus completely on you and you don't have the distractions.
And they can focus completely on you. I mean, plus you aren't getting PvP points from really any of the attack phase or the raid phase, because there's no one, like you said, no one's gonna really walk over this far, and you have to put a lot of resources to walk towards their base. And even then, there's going to be 5 or 4 teams looking at you if you're traveling from that far of a distance. So, you know, we'll see how it pays off. I mean, we've seen some teams be very aggressive. They've taken scrappies, they've taken cars on over towards these other bases before. But my question to this outside team is, you know, what are they going to do? How are they going to mobilize over towards these bases that are clumped up?
Yeah. They usually end up being a target, especially like with airfield this close and with all these other places real close. If somebody's running low on rockets or anything else, they're like, hey, let's go hit up this one. They've probably been stocking up the entire time, and we'll have extra ammunition for everybody.
Yeah, definitely have that extra ammunition. Get those extra PvP points, but to about the second half of our attack phase right now. Still Messi on top, doing a really, really good job, along with Lays, to keep themselves in those positions, earn themselves some PvP points. And Messi specifically just, I mean, been able to spawn camp that one house, and along with that, keeping themselves in the running with getting that attack helicopter and focusing on a lot of those big objectives. So, you know, if they keep this position, obviously they'll get that extra 10 points, they'll get a little bit of a booster, and like we've talked about, they're looking to get that extra 40 points from getting that first base that they've been kind of butchering, flying over, and waiting on. But this second patrol helicopter will be dropped, it looked like, and it's right next to Lay's base, so an opportunity to maybe catch up with Messi a little bit.
Yeah, and we have Ape Squad. A member has already starting to move up, putting some walls down, hopefully protecting his teammates if they want to move out. Lays would have to push down, and I'm sure some of them will, but they'll go ahead and try to clean them out. But looks like they're finishing building as well.
Still trying to finish up their build, but they're going to build a nice little wall here, a little bit of a barrier to keep themselves separated from the Lays team. It's a good idea. Obviously, these walls don't last forever. I believe 10 minutes is the timer on them, and you know, them only being wood walls, they do take a few rockets can break them down, but that gives you at least a little bit of protection. I know you talked about how, you know, all of their metal is outside the wall here, and this like little half wall is really needed to give them just some protection, because Lays just has these amazing angles off the roof, and if you walk out of the open, it is not going to be a good time.
No, definitely not. I mean, they're doing a good job. We had one Lays member push in. Looks like another one may be coming from the outside. Or is this another team? Oh, Messi is over here.
Oh. A lot of top teams in the mix here. Messi want to get involved on a second patrol helicopter. But it looks like the Ape squad has sniffed a player out here on towards their backside, knowing that this Messi player is here. We're going to try and make sure there's no one there, but the Messi player finally go down and eliminated. So a point goes over to them, but you can see some Messi players, they're running in from the distance actually. So Messi does want to take part in this fight. They want to take part in, you know, towards getting more of these helicopter crates.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Ape Squad is what? They all disappear?
Magic.
Everybody leave the server? I'm wondering if they're having some issues on the server side.
That could possibly be that.
So unfortunately, I mean, it is technology. It likes to have fun with us. But there they are. Okay. Maybe there was just some issues on our end, but maybe they're loading back in now. All right, so we still have a couple of Ape Squad out in there, but I don't see any Lays members pushed out as of yet.
It looks like Lay's just trapped inside their house right now, just using those roof peaks to their fullest advantage. They have a little bit of high ground advantage towards that other squad, so just using that as much as they can. But, you know, it is this Ape squad that has made the move out, like you said, first to get these crates. They are going to be on fire for just a little bit. You know, Ape squad, they're doing a good job at prioritizing targets, watching their backside, and making sure that Messi can really not just run in and take these crates from them.
Yeah, it was a good defense of this area so far. I think the only thing that have to worry about is Lays pushing out completely, but it doesn't look like they're going to. I see at least one crate that looks like it's gone out. But that could just be the glitch or something. No, it was.
Takes the crate, but pays their life for it, as this other crate's going to take some time to start to expire as those fires start to extinguish. Importantly, again, you just have to touch that crate to claim those points. So, you know, for the side of Ape Squad, it's really, really important for them to just touch those as soon as they expire. They're really, really close to this, even if they can just swing a couple players out. Those roof peaks, though, really, really hard to fight for the side of Lays, and now they've pushed all the way up towards this wall and are looking to claim the crates for themselves.
Yeah, 1G has decided to push off. We have Vasya Builder laying down some covering fire, and he's able to push in. It doesn't look like he's worried about the crates, though. He's going to go ahead and take care of get those extra points.
To go in and claim those in a long flanking angle, taking out one of the Lays members here as well. So able to get some nice angles. Obviously, they have those roof peaks like we were talking about, and is going to be this 1G player that's going to be having some nice walls be placed on in. Their teammate, while they're doing this, going to claim the rest of those crates. And with that, it is going to put Messi and Lays in a really, really close contention for that first place spot.
Yeah, they're already staking their claim on who's going to get this. They're tied right now with 58. And that's with 12 minutes left, so there's still plenty of time to battle out and see who can get the most PvP points while we wait.
Yeah, PvP points still going to be important here as, you know, approaching about a third of this attack timer left. Obviously, still have the raiding phase to earn yourself lots of points here, but Would be interesting to see, as I believe this might have been the broken down base where Messi was sitting on top of. I think it was, and they might have, left just a little bit. They still some players kind of, wandering around. Still, some of the players that own this base look like they have back and maybe defended just a little bit, but it still looks like they are in a little bit of trouble. I mean, still no outer wall for them. Still, I mean, their roof is not fully built like you've talked about. Some of their advent calendar doors not up. So, I mean, maybe they can go out and get enough resources now that they have all their team members back up.
Yeah, it looks like they had tried to go ahead and finish their compound. They got a few more walls up, but I think somebody at Messi's realized what they were doing and decided to stop that really quick to prevent that from happening. And that's unfortunate for them, but at the same time, I mean, that's why you got to secure this place first before you can start doing all the other fun stuff. That was a little dangerous move, opening that door.
Was could open your door to the entire base, and then Messi gets in and gets active. But Messi obviously putting some members towards this base, like you said, making sure that they cannot get rebuilt, making sure that those doors cannot get built up. And I think it's just a really good thing showcasing Messi's skill that they know that once these next 10 minutes expire, if they own this base, I mean, it's going to be very little resources for very, very high reward. And, if any of these guys come back with a kit, it's just more PvP points for them.
Exactly. I mean, that's unfortunate whenever they take over the roof because those nice peaks that you use to defend are used against you, and you can't get anything else done inside your base. So we have Zuv's base. It looks like Sasa has decided to push in. Looks like there's a few holes that they've come in on, and they're just scoping out, maybe waiting for doors to be opened.
Holes in the roof. Peaks down, maybe, possibly, but no roof protection right now. No outer compound wall either, so very easy for any team to really walk on in. All of their scrap, like you're saying before, from other teams, is outside the outer compound wall because they have no outer compound wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just you want that extra layer. I mean, yeah, it doesn't take much to take down a compound wall, a couple C4, and you're done. But it's that extra security, just that it makes them take a little longer. It gives you a little warning that, hey, they're actually breaching, or they're like, it gives you an idea of what the attackers are actually doing.
It's not only that, it's that if you also have that outer compound wall, you can pretty much know where the enemies are coming in, because usually they're not going to destroy more than 2 sections of that outer compound wall. Now, if you have no outer compound wall, they can attack you from any direction, but if those 2 or 1 chunks of outer compound wall are gone, well, they have to come through here, or they have to use C4 on another piece of the wall.
Mm-hmm. So there's been a little PvP action. There's been a whole bunch of bodies that we see in there. Zub keeps trying to take over the roof, but Sasa seems to be on it. That's done. And Lays looks like one member is coming out just to take a peek at what's going on in this area. Maybe another easy raid target for them.
Looking for an easy raid target, always looking for those easy points. Right now overtaking Messi on the leaderboard from getting those. Attack helicopter crate's done a really good job of staying in it, and keeping with it. So we will have one final patrol helicopter coming in here soon. So we'll see if one of these teams is able to get it. But it is Lays right now. If it stands, they will get those 10 extra points for being at the top of the leaderboard. And although it's not a game changer, those 10 points, it can come down to it. I mean, we've seen tournaments come down to 5 or even less points. So
yeah. No, I don't know. Like what some of these guys is, the Sasa keep coming in and in, so they're obviously being taken care of. But Zuv needs to come in, maybe a builder. Just put some stuff. They can't break the twig, so if you lock them in a certain area, you keep those doors closed on that side. You might be able to finish building your roof, maybe put up a target or a shotgun trap or something facing that way. Open it, let the turret take care of it. I mean, do something. Keep them from more of them coming inside that base.
And do a little extermination job, trap them in, smoke them out, and make sure you get all of them before that raiding phase does start. And, it's like you said, you can do that. That's a perfect strategy, is just trapping them in because they can't break that twig. They can't break any walls inside of this, attack phase. And, they have 7 minutes to do that, 7 minutes to get rid of these invaders. But, as it stands, they're inside their base. They're good at PvP. Obviously, they're holding their own ground, and they have easy access into it with no outer compound.
Yeah, and we keep seeing Zev get up on the roof, but there is no coverage. They didn't get walls or any kind of peaks or anything, shooting floor set up. And that's really unfortunate for them. They really should have just finished the base. Keep yourself cover. So if you do get stranded up here on the roof like that, you have somewhere to hide and actually finish doing what you need to do.
You gotta kind of question, what happened in that peace phase, in that building phase, when obviously you have 6 members. You have, it's not really 3-man. It's not something where you're struggling to get resources. You're struggling to get out inside. But it does question you. What will they do? Because there are so many teams around them, and you only have 6 minutes now to fully repair and get ready for this onslaught of teams that is going to attack your base.
Mm-hmm. And looks like Emperor took out the attack heli that came in, and there is nobody in contention, so they should be getting an easy 15 points, as long as nobody is very sneaky.
It could be some sneaksers coming up here to the top, but it's like you said, they're very, very alone. This is the team that is sitting right on the pretty much edge of the map, away from everyone else, but at least 15 points is going to be really good for them because we talked about their lack of ability to actually travel and get points. So this will be something that, although it's not 40 points, although it's not, that full TC, it will be able to put themselves in maybe a position that if they were able to travel and take a couple TCs, have a couple good raids, that, maybe they could put themselves in position in a good spot in this game.
Yeah, I mean, because as you can see, they're 14th currently. So that's still way behind everybody else, and that's just based off of maybe these heli crates and what little action they have seen whenever they've pushed out somewhere else, and that's all. And you see somebody like Lays and Messi, who's been in the thick of things, going out searching for battles, and the neighbors, they're at 78, 66 points. I mean, but the great shooters, everything else, but it really detracts when you were that far away from everybody.
It really does. You just can't get out. You can't really go get to anyone. You might have 1 or 2 chances with a helicopter, but once you either die on that helicopter, it gets destroyed from all the teams focusing it, or a team just kills you off and then takes it for themselves. Then you really just have to walk it, and then that's really just not a fun time. It wastes so much of your own time, which is just a resource you can't get back.
It really does. And we see another attack heli in the distance. It looks like it is going to come this direction. So Emperor may have another chance at another 15 points. But we did see one move in the area. He could be calling it out to his other teammates. Or he could just be moving on and feeling pretty comfortable with their 5th place currently.
That's true.
But Victims is also in the area. So, I mean, they could try to push for this as well.
They definitely could. I mean, like you said, it's kind of isolated. So if you can kill off a couple of the members protecting this helicopter here, you can take the points for yourself and walk away with them. Important, like you said, to move yourself up on the leaderboard because 3.5 minutes is all that is left in this attack phase. Lays still holding down their lead by only a couple points here, but nonetheless, right now, like we said, if it ends right here, that 10 points will be over to Lays, and they'll give themselves just a little bit of a buffer between that 1st and 2nd place spot.
Yeah, looks like they're trying to get the aggro on them rather than Victims, but both of them are shooting it. It does seem to be heading over more towards Emperor. Maybe they're looking for a water, but you hope to at least pull it closer to shore. There we go. Water landing is ideal, but at the same time, if it goes too far out, you don't have a tank to go out there and get it.
Yeah, you just can't go ahead and get it. That would be unfortunate. Just staring at the points as they drown in the water. But, these first crates going to drop right next to Victim's base here. So we'll see if anybody does try and contest them for it. But, this will be the final helicopter here. Emperor does look like they want a piece of it at least. So we'll see if they can come over, get some players here. They don't have a lot of walls down. They don't have really any beds or anything. So they'll have to take maybe some time to get set up here, maybe a half base. But, if they don't, it's going to be a long journey to walk over and over and over. But, the points, like we talked about, very worth it for them at this point.
I did see a raid platform set up a little bit like in between them. So I think maybe one of them has, Emperor has decided they're going to set up for this. And they're going to go after their neighbor during the raid phase. But it's still a good distance away. I mean, granted, it won't be hit by rockets, but you're also not going to be able to get back to it in case somebody flanks around you.
Yeah, it's a good little distance away. So see what they could do, Emperor, as they try and take some angles towards this. It looks like they are getting a couple of kills here, as Victims has kind of split up a little bit. They have some players up towards the top side, but the team of Emperor is getting a couple of flank players around Emperor close on that side of the base. So Victims doing everything they can at the moment to defend. See what they can do, not do anything there. And it looks like Victims is doing a good job of recognizing where these players are coming from, making sure they can't get angles and can't get the kills on the Victims.
Yeah, we do see Toxical over there. I don't know if he's kitted, and maybe that's why nobody has taken a shot at him yet. But approachable, there's a couple of Victims flanking around the other side. He's just... Oh no, he is kitted up. Guess nobody has had a good angle on him. We got our little party hats because it is the 9-year birthday for Rust. And we have a little cakes if you do play this game at all. I think these automatically join in your inventory, so you can have this edible cake. And I think also party hats when you're naked. So you'll probably be seeing a lot of those hats.
Yeah, it's a great thing to have. I mean, 9 years, a crazy thing for any game, but especially for Rust. And this community that's been active for so long, such a huge thing to see. All these teams coming out every single week. This week, not even different. So, it's just fun to see all these players coming out with their friends and just having a lot of fun, especially on that 9th anniversary.
Yeah, and we have started the attack phase, although I thought that was some C4, but no damage. It's still saying attack phase, though, so I don't know, maybe there was a little miscommunication in the timing, so that was a wasted couple of C4 for these guys, unfortunately, because it looks like the timer was reset to 4 minutes.
Added time obviously never hurt anybody here, except obviously, like you said, waste a few C4 are gonna not be too much of a hurt on towards that team, because I assume they have a lot of it preparing to go in towards this raid, and you can see they have chests, they have beds, they have everything set up and ready to go here. They better have their cakes. I mean, they better be ready to eat their cake once they beat the base. That'd be fun to see. Just have a little celebration there. But yeah, we'll see. 4 minutes, like you said, added on to it. Lays is still heavily in the lead here by like 10 or 11 points. So done a good job to just extend their lead over Messi, while Messi is just focused on taking down this base.
Yeah, and you see that when the time happened, I mean, they pushed away from the base really quick. Okay, it's not time yet. Let's go ahead and get some more resources, get some more, boom. We already have an idea of what the space looks like. Since they were above, they knew it's an advent calendar, so they're probably going to need more C4.
Yeah, they'll probably need a little bit more C4, but, it is kind of a half base because of how much, they stopped that base. They didn't allow it to be fully built up, and this top of this base looks like this other team did do a good job of getting something up on the top floor, so at least expanding a little bit more. Lays is around the area, though, so, it looks fully built on the inside. The top's still a little bit shaky, but they do have some of that twig wall to, protect them on the top, and, starting to build up that metal, doing a good job, but Lays is here, and Lays is going to try and stop them from doing so.
Yeah, it looks like they did attempt to finish the walls up, but if they only had metal in their inventory, they could instantly upgrade, at least get them some directional, like maybe some corners or something, and build off of that. And unfortunately, they didn't get a chance to do that, and Sasas decided to come back because they were the first ones who had this base before Lays took over.
Yeah, it looks like two different teams want to take a piece of it. Both seem to be very experienced in picking their targets, and that's one of the most important things, obviously, in this event is just picking your targets because you have, like we talked about, a very limited amount of time going into that raiding phase. And if you spend way too much time on a raid, if your raid gets stolen, if you lose all those resources, I mean, it can ultimately cost you the entire tournament, but Lays here is going to cost themselves a life, as it looks like the Sasa members do a good job of clearing out their backside.
Yeah, they did clear them out nicely, although we do have 3 members of Lays on the base itself, so they're able to keep them from coming up, or at least whenever they do come up, to go ahead and take care of them. But now Lays is in a situation where they have to deal with the home team and another team that's competing, so they have to worry about 2 fronts. Oh, and opening doors. And 2 doors are open.
That's good. Invite them inside. We're having a party, right? With a bunch of cake. Why not have more people? The more the merrier. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, nothing fun in there. But I mean, there are some beds. He's getting a layout. He knows not to go in that direction. That's not going to be a huge problem.
They'll be able to shut that garage door at least now. But like you said, that information is very key to know that, you know, we don't have to go down towards that area. We can go somewhere else, and we know that the TC is obviously not in there. We also know that that's where players are most likely have a place to respawn. We can watch that. We can have a person outside of it just in case any of them do try to venture too far out when we are raiding this. But, you know, it's like you said, they have to deal with this home team that is defending them and this outside team that is actually causing Lays a lot of problems. They can only really hold the roof down. It seems Sasa really clearing out anything on the outside.
And it looks like we have Messi coming in too. So this is number 3 team gonna try to counter with the number 1, which is very interesting. This may be bad for Sasa because it looks like Messi is coming in on the backside.
They're all kind of rotating in the same way. My question is, I mean, obviously it's 6-man, so Messi has a little bit more strength than some of the smaller type squads, but, you know, will they split their resources here? Obviously, we saw them take a lot of priority towards that other house, sitting on top of it with that, you know, semi-half raid base there. Whitehead's though on a 15 kill streak, gotta stop them. But, you know, do they split their members? Do they go 3 and 3, or do they, you know, have to keep someone back at their base? So, I mean, what is the decision here as we go into the attack phase? We will decide as raid phase now going to start. Lays will receive the extra 10 points and extend their lead once more.
Yep, 118 points going into the raid phase, and they already have their target. So as long as they can keep Messi or Sasa from coming in, they should have that one well in hand, even though it's going to be difficult for them.
It's like Messi is going to try and take this down, split the resources. 2 members of their team in this base, and they're just going to start clearing out the C4, going wild here, trying to clear out every single door that this TC could possibly be in. There are not a lot of them, so see where they can go from here. It looks like they just jumped down in through the roof and are looking to finish this one off with some rockets, some C4, and no one is in the area to stop them.
Yeah, it looks like they have a couple members already clearing out the core. They know it's not there, but they could also get any boom that they might see. So they're focused mainly on those advent calendar doors. Once they just make a run through here, they get a TC. It should be pretty quick for them since it's only 2 layers of advent calendar.
Just get these doors down, make sure you can find that TC, get it cleanly, and get it done. Get those 40 points for yourself, and having a hard shot, very unlucky here as they're trying to blow up every single door, it seems, with this last one.
Yep,
Oh, there we go. Of course, the last door that they blow up will be the one that holds the TC for Messi. Don't know why they're blowing up more if they know where it is, but, you know, just making sure, you know, and that is it. That'll be the TC for them, and for Messi, that's going to be a solid 40 points. I mean, yep, HCNK eliminated. Messi, a good job to select their target. With that, they will pretty much, you know, tie themselves with the likes of Lays and put themselves back in that first place position.
Yeah, and there was still, so I think splitting the members, they realized that other team, it looks like they gave up. They stopped coming in and fighting. And so they were able to say, okay, we're going to keep 2 here. The rest of you go look for another one. And this is what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. Going to send some C4 in this time towards the main core of this base. Take it down to back-to-back bases. see what they can do, see if they can get some extra points here. Going up towards those garage doors and everything with the like, but it's like you said, you know, they split their resources very perfectly, knowing they only needed 2 members in that base. You know, you do have to be careful when you are splitting members up, that you do have to keep, you usually have to keep the player back at your own base as a spy per se, to make sure if anyone is actually raiding your base, they can communicate that. But, you know, it is good to be able to split your resources up, be able to get some presence in both bases, and even have the ability to take both.
Yeah, and some teams, they will keep a member back. Some of them are just confident enough in their build that, and maybe another team is set to constantly keep an eye on the map, so whenever that red marker comes off, they can just let them know. So I think it just depends. With the larger teams, you can definitely see one person staying back just because you have those resources. But when you get down to those 3-mans, 4-mans, it's like you need every single person that you can, and you kind of risk leaving your base.
Really does seem that way, but obviously 6 mans today, what they decided to do, but obviously splitting their members up will split them towards a new base. So it looks like Lays, they had to send some of their back to their own base, it looks like, as an outer compound piece broken, and possibly a raid gonna be initiated here by Ape Squad. So a couple of these players had to get back to try and fight this, and now Ape Squad, a successful kill on the outside. They're gonna be able to push on in here. They've already broken a piece of this wall on the outside, and they're gonna swing around. They're going to continue here, taking down player after player, and Lays has to be careful. They might have to send all of their players back, because this raid is looking legit from the side of Ape Squad.
Yeah, they've definitely busted in. They still have a ways to go before they get fully inside, but they're cleaning up anybody that they see on the outside. They pushed, was it 3-4 members out? We have one taking out one of the Ape Squad, but there's another one trying to flank behind him.
One trying to flank, it looks like. We'll see if they can get that done. Ape Squad, they are unrelenting, though. They want this raid. They want it badly. And Lays, they have 3 members back right now inside of their base. Ape Squad, like we talked about. Oh, a nice kill there. You can see that Ape Squad just sniping through the shooting floor and taking yet another down. So, beautiful start to that raid. We're going to swap on back over to where it looks like Lays, you know, had the other 3 members of their team over here. It looks like them along with Messi were trying to raid this base. And it is looking, like you talked about, a little bit rough, not able to have that outer compound wall. You know, they've just been fighting for their life.
Yeah. And it does look like just 3 over here, maybe 4 of Lay's members, but now they have to maybe retreat from that other one, unfortunately for them. But, I mean, this defending your base will definitely give you up to 40 points, depending on how long it takes. And sometimes you just have to make sure you don't fall early.
That's the most important thing. I mean, you can attack and raid all you want, but if your own base gets raided, if you fall, I mean, you lose all that value, you lose all that points, and you drop out of the tournament.
Yeah, we have them pushing out now. Oh, using the doors to his advantage, closing it off, maybe healing.
See if we're gonna be launched on in. Squad just wants to find themselves a hole into this base, it looks like. But, you know, it's like you said, that Lays really can use these doors and garage doors to their advantage, give themselves a little bit of temporary cover, but Squad is just doing a good job of winning their 1v1. As I say that, oh man, Member jumps down and takes 2 with him.
Yeah, so it's amazing to listen to some of these guys and how they communicate and how they work together as a team. I mean, a lot of these guys have been playing together for years, or they play on teams similar, and maybe one is pulled from another team and put into this other group, and sometimes the communication will falter, but whenever you see it come together like that, it's like, hey, I'm gonna push, you go. It's beautiful to watch. And Zub was finally eliminated, but it was by Messi. So that hurts for Lays.
Yeah. I mean, it hurts. They got a lot of PvP points out of that fight, and they did put some of their, you know, C4 and other rockets towards this, but for Messi, that's back-to-back raids, that's back-to-back 40 points, putting themselves in the first place. But I think Lays, they honestly made the right decision. It hurts, but you have to get back to defend your base. If they're already inside, if they're already in that outer compound, you know, you have to make sure that you don't fall, that you don't be one of those teams that just falls off really early, and Lays still has hour 20. They still have some amount of time to bring it back to maybe raid Messi, maybe do some other things, but it's good that they went back and defended their bases, in my opinion.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Lays goes ahead and pushes them all out and then goes directly after them. Because if they're going to mess with their attempt to raids, it's like they're just going to take them out.
Very true here. See what can happen inside of this base. It looks like just some more fighting going on back and forth. I believe this was the base that was destroyed.
Yeah, there's lots of doors still to go through, but a good deal of damage has been done.
Seem that way. Still coming through here. Side of Punk. And that has been active the past weeks, obviously. Showing up multiple times, and what they could do here today. Now sitting in 9th. Still, a little bit behind, but, like we talked about, TCs can bring anyone back into the mix.
It definitely can. So we just have halls of squares. It's very interesting design. Usually you see a lot more triangles, you get the advent calendar, so seeing something a little bit different, even though it's, I don't want to say basic, because there's a lot that goes into these bases, and there's a reason for it usually. And so far, I mean, it's made them use a whole bunch of rockets to get through nothing, so...
It's like the tourist attraction. It's like the Hall of Mirrors, but it's the tourist attraction in Boston. The Hall of Squares. Like a little bit of basic, it's not necessarily the most interesting attraction, but it's something you can come and see here and shoot some rockets at while you're at it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's doing its job. It's keeping them in that area, keeping them firing rockets in C4, and they've still yet to find a TC. So they still have ways to go.
Still a little bit to go here. Obviously, gotta find that TC, get yourself some of that money, some of that points on your side. But like you said, it's kind of a hard base to raid, because we've seen so many advent calendar bases, because that has been the meta of base building for a while. I mean, you gotta imagine this is kind of not necessarily new, but maybe, a surprise to some of these players.
Yeah, it's definitely something, unless they've been here long enough to see all the different phases of the builds. If they're so used to seeing those advent calendars, seeing this will definitely maybe make them stutter just a little bit and on where they decide to go next.
Location, like you said, some of these experienced players have been for long enough to recognize that base design, but we'll continue here to see what they can get done. C4 aplenty is going to be thrown out. 10 minutes already gone in this raiding phase, and Messi still holding down their first place spot. I would like to say, though, Lays has done a really, really good job of just getting PvP points. I mean, they've almost equalized, almost retaken that first place just off of PvP points.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lays has not had any TCs yet, but they are still up on top. They are currently being raided, or were at one point, so some of those points could have come from that. But no doubt from the exchanges between those two teams and killing those back and forth.
Exactly. Could have been a little bit of points from defense, but, just doing a good job of that. But C4 on this door could mean a TC for a team that is waiting. It's beautiful. Open it up, and what's inside? It is the second place team that has found the TC, and they are looking to finish it on off. I mean, that's going to jump themselves right up into, third place, pretty close to first and second, and a great job from this F team to get that and recognize the design and finish it off.
Yeah, so far 2 of the teams with letters as their team names have gone. So maybe this will be like, hey, name your team something different. At least for the casters. It makes this easy. It makes it easier for us.
Don't change your name every single time. We'll recognize you. We don't want to be poo eaters for every single team.
Exactly. It's like, okay, we know who those are. We see them on the team. We're like, okay, we know we're gonna get a tower.
Yeah. Exactly. But talking talking about some bases here. It looks like another interesting little base here. Pretty well built up, I would have to say. It looks like kind of a mix between the advent calendar. It does have that chipped roof, a lot of levels, a lot of girth to this base, but you know, some rockets coming in to hit the core and hit some of that mid floor. Some ladders already on the outside of the base, so access to it will be here for one team that is trying to move into this base.
Yes, currently one move is sitting in 6th place, so they're definitely looking for. They spotted some high qual, so I may be thinking that that's going to be where TC is. I do see other high qual, but it looks like it's more into the P. I think they're worried. They're rebuilding really quick.
Yeah, they're trying to rebuild. Is the high qual a trap? That's always the question. Is it a psych out, or is it just that really high fortified area that could hold your TC? I think one move, they think that obviously it's high qual, we gotta destroy it, and I think that's honestly the mindset of a lot of players. And if you see high qual, you most likely want to destroy it, put some shots towards it, because most likely the TC is gonna be behind there. Have to see if these rockets will pay off. The TC is actually behind.
Yeah, it's a good move, as long as they can keep the rockets on target, which that one missed a little bit. They still have a few more rockets to go through before they'll break through that. I don't know if one of the teammates can get in there, maybe throw some more C4, like do a sacrifice run, but oh, it's nothing, it's just their jump up.
Oh, it's a trap, it's all a trap, it's all a ploy, it's all a plan from the team inside, and honestly really good. They played that really well. Like you said, they repaired around that area, so it looked like they were panicking, but we just to jump up for them, that high qual, not going to be protecting the TC at the moment, but this is a little bit of a tunnel, could go down, could give them access, obviously that jump up, an important thing for the team to get roof access, and honestly, this base very open, even though it's only one side. They're destroying everything. They're destroying these beds, they're destroying the crates up top, and that's just going to give less resources and spawn points for the team inside.
Yeah, and aiming at the roof like that, I mean, you're hoping to take out beds, maybe hit a turret or two. So aiming towards that center, maybe they should have aimed more towards the roof rather than the high qual. But you spot that high qual, and it's just, gut instinct is like, oh, that's got to be where it is.
It's definitely that instinct, and see, they were playing off that. They played off that, made them waste a couple of rockets, and now we go over towards our apartment building, which might be getting renovated by the outside teams with some rockets here, as we've seen this base a little bit before. Some C4 gonna launch on through the middle of it. It's pretty much a spiral staircase surrounded by kind of, you know, advent calendar, you could kind of say, and more boxy, but it is.
They were eliminated.
Wow, Sasa doing a good job. We saw Sasa in some trouble, I believe, earlier on, and now they are the ones putting some trouble onto the Poo Eaters, who are no longer going to be in ownership of this apartment building.
I was going to make a comment about how that C4 throwing was really poor idea, especially since you could jump down there. But it turned out, I think that was a Poo Eater trying to despawn C4. And that was a nice attempt, but it looked like they had moved too far into that base to actually get anything done.
I tried to get some of the C4 to spawn off of the bodies, but like you said, they were too far in. It was too little too late. Now we can take a look at the leaderboard. Ladies are still pushing very hard on PvP points. They've not actually regained the lead. Like you said, you know, they have not taken a TC this game yet. And, you know, Messi has taken 2, and Blaze, they did get some defense points, but, you know, they've just done a really good job of keeping up with those players just fragging out. And talking about fragging out, the victims are going to be pushing in here towards Emperor's base. And this is one that is right on the outskirts. A very well built up base, but what do they have to defend it?
Yeah, and I mean, you see it well built, but we see doors open, easy access, easy walkthrough. That's just a pet peeve of mine, and I'm sure probably something that crosses their mind occasionally. So far, I'm seeing a lot of thatch floors.
That's true. Oh, Ape Squad is actually eliminated after all that fighting and everything, and it's actually going to be Lays that takes their first TC of the match. Lays, a beautiful job to once again extend their lead, gain those 40 points, and they will hold down first place. But it's like you said, inside this base, those open doors, it's a pet peeve of mine too. Giving open doors, it just gives access to the enemy. And, it just
Mhm.
takes a second to close those and make sure those are all locked up. But it will be Emperor on the shooting floor. They have some peek downs to try and fight this. And they're going to get a couple of kills. But victims, I mean, they've done a good job so far to exploit what is open, exploit what is here for them. And obviously they have already blown a hole in the wall.
Yeah. They have pretty good control. They can't get around to that other side yet, but laddering up. They're doing some pretty good damage. Emperor is being held back. I mean, they got a few doors open and they close a couple, but immediately killed. So it's not much getting done.
And not much getting done here. They are on the edge, like we said, resources were there, but not the ability to really go out and get points. So Emperor, they really need to, really need to get this defense and keep going on to other places. But, at this point, we're talking about victims that now own their shooting floor. They now own a large majority of Emperor's base, and they're going to start blowing open these advent calendar doors. Obviously, could get a little bit unlucky. We've seen before, can take towards the last one to open it, but once you find that, I mean, it's just a matter of time, Emperor, if you don't start to fight back before they take your base.
Yeah, and it looks like they're just trying to deal some splash damage, hit multiple doors at once, especially when you're using rockets. You don't have that accuracy as you do when you have your C4s.
Have as much accuracy. Have to try and rely a little bit on splash damage as well. But yeah, Lays again with that big TC is, it's going to put them pretty much a whole TC ahead of Messi. Haven't really checked on Messi where they've been going around. I mean, they've been kind of quiet. We've seen the two TCs to start off the match, but since then have just been, gaining points, gaining a little bit of PvP points. So we'll see where they try to go to next. But the Emperor and company that are trying to defend this one. Victims still, like you said, very heavily inside of this base, and they've already destroyed large chunks of it, large chunks of those advent calendar doors too.
Yeah, there's still quite a bit to go through with that base. All right, let's... Who do we have here?
A couple different bases, a little bit of a neighborhood of not so much friends, but neighborhood of death here, as a lot of the teams trying to, still try and get rid of the people close to them so they can expand out and get other places. But it looks like we have a couple different squads that have been kind of quiet throughout the day. We do see Sasa, who just recently took down Ape Squad. They're going to be, looking to take the resources from that base, looking to expand out and see if they can, once again, just translate those resources into another base raid. Obviously, if you take that boom, if you take those resources, you take those points, you can definitely get yourself ready and roaring to go for another one right away.
Yeah, just a correction. Lays is the one that took out Ape Squad.
Oh, yeah.
That was the one that was pissing them off and made them lose that TC, and they just went back and go, you're not going to be around this server much longer. We have that lovely compound right next to Pobeda. This is the one that's still going on that we saw earlier with the high qual. Not much has been done since. I mean, maybe further inside.
It looks like some damage done to the inside. Some C4 is going to be stacked up here, and looks like it's going to blow up in here to the mid part of the base, as looks like they want this, and they want a little bit bad. The number 3 team in here trying to catch back up a little bit towards the likes of Lays and Messi, who have gotten some PvP points and some TCs as well. Lays have shown they can do everything all around, putting some C4 on a... Let us... You already know it's on the other side, but I guess blow it up, why not? Break some more of that high qual. But, trying to just break through the base, there are a lot of holes, a lot of places to get through. And I kind of like this base. It's very triangular. It has a lot of, pillared areas. So we'll see if anybody can try and find that, to see.
Yeah, it's very odd. It's because they do, when they destroy one thing, there's still either, a massive jump they have to go through or something else a little awkward. I'm enjoying this base a lot. It's just something a little different.
A little bit different, a little bit harder for obviously the people that are raiding to get, and it's a little bit different than the advent calendar meta. And we always like to see that. We always like to see brand new designs, brand new things that people can bring on in. And like you said, you know, it's not just you destroy one wall, you get access to the whole entire base for free. It is very much a maze. It is a labyrinth here that, you know, teams are struggling a little bit with, that they have to destroy multiple walls to try and actually know where they are. Our producer's not enjoying it, so. It's definitely.
Yeah. So we are seeing a lot of damage done. I mean, they're fully in this base, but what of the half walls or anything else? Like, where could this be out of this base? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like they could. It's not behind the high wall, obviously, so I don't know. I mean, maybe this base was specifically designed to trigger our observer, so that like obviously he can get through.
Yeah, very possible.
What are we gonna do today? We're gonna piss off the observer.
Yeah.
Could be anywhere, like you said. I really have no idea. I mean, there's still a lot of places it could be, but you know, there's some walls broken, there's some doors broken. Obviously, it wasn't in that high quality center, so it honestly could be anywhere. Rockets coming down though, on the side here. Getting down some more of these walls. Kills being traded back and forth here.
I think we have the overlay on. So yeah, sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, I was just talking about Nef team. They've done a good job of just, you know, quietly keeping themselves in the race here today. That, you know, keeping themselves in third place in this base, doing a really good job.
Yeah. Yeah, we have, our producer has got that fixed. We are on a 5-minute delay, so give us a few more minutes and it will pop up. Or by the time you hear me say this, it will have already popped up.
Exactly. We'll be able to have that going. Nef going to continue on towards this raid, though, along with, you know, Lays and Messi. The gap kind of has closed a little bit. Messi did a good job of continuing to just go out and get some more PvP points for themselves. About 30 is what the lead will be right now for Lays and Messi. Obviously, they've shown they can go out and they can get TC, but can Lays do the same? We've seen them get one. We've seen them, you know, mount a really good defense, and they're gonna have to keep going. Messi's not just gonna lay down and give it.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, they started this off really strong, and they haven't quit. They just, unfortunately, Lays has been able to move and kill just a little bit faster than them.
It's that way, and it's gonna be a firefight here. A lot of teams here, Nef seeming to get the winning portion of that. Looks like there's 3 or 4 of those players still living and breathing, but it's kind of a graveyard here on this kind of half shooting floor level, and still a lot of this outer wall still to be broken open, still a lot of the inside to be explored. Still the team inside, the Minotaur waiting in the labyrinth to try and fight through, because it really seems no team can figure out where this TC is.
Yeah, and you have these little half walls that go into certain areas, but they don't go anywhere else. It's a very unique design. This is the 3rd week I've seen it, and it's just really interesting, and it's confusing, and it's doing its job.
That definitely is intricate and confusing for sure, but you know, we'll see if any team can find the key to it. And like you said, if it keeps showing up week after week after week, and you get some of those experienced teams that start to recognize where it possibly could be, there's that ability to, you know, bring that experience in and possibly remember the base design. But like you said, the base designers, especially here in Rustoria, are just doing the best ever. I mean, making all these new base designs, making them intricate and confusing to just stall out time, to give them space to rebuild, to do anything they want. And obviously, like we've seen, it has done its job, like you said, to keep all these teams out so far.
Yeah, I do like all these little garage doors and stuff. It looks like it's bed spawns in those areas, so they're able to spawn in, get kitted up, maybe take out one person, close back up, go move to a different area, and see who else they can push back.
Obviously, having those multiple spawns, a very big advantage. You know, once those beds start to get destroyed and handle that in the base. You have to spawn maybe outside on the top, other places you may not want to spawn, but it is just an absolute war zone at that base. Gonna hop over to another one where it looks like we're gonna see two teams that are kind of around each other raiding. Looks like BFF is the team that is gonna be the target of this one. Looks like it's gonna be Punk in the area along with FXX. So a couple teams looking to take down this base, which is kind of broken. This outer compound wall maybe not the best, I would say, for them. They got an opening in it with that tree, and two teams have recognized that, and they want a piece of it.
Yeah, and it does look like there is the remainder of a previous base that was there. Earlier, there was some fights over the loot that had been remaining, but now it looks like they're all set up to start the attack.
Those walls are start to get more.
Yeah. We have victims, or is this Amazon's base? I think this may be victim space. Oh no, it's Amazon.
It's Amazon's. Wow. So yeah, Victims trying to continue with their streak. Victims actually didn't take out Emperor over on towards that outer edge, and they've actually now shifted their focus towards this base instead. And Sasa is also here, so a couple of different teams that are looking to make a name for themselves. Sasa especially is one of the teams that needs to get a TC here and needs to, close that gap, because the gap right now between third and fourth is actually pretty large. I mean, 60-70 points between these two teams, and that's 1 or 2 TCs, so you need to start to get going here with just an hour left approaching that in our raid phase.
Yeah, they need to start moving. An hour left. I mean, it's plenty of time to get probably 2, maybe 3 raids off if they can move quickly on at least one of those. But that's you're hoping that nobody is going to help. Nobody's going to counter you. That is if everything goes smoothly, which in Base Invaders nothing ever goes smoothly.
Nothing will ever go smoothly. Nothing ever will go your way. You're going to get countered. You're going to get random rockets coming in flying through your base. You're going to get some random people trying to just single players go in and try and disrupt. So never good towards that. But an hour left now is what we're approaching here for the raid phase. About 2/3 of the time in total for this raid phase. Left. Lazy, they're still doing a good job keeping that lead still. It's about 30 points here. Messi and Neff have done a good job both, though, to keep themselves in the running. 1 TC from either of these teams. They jumped themselves up right into first, right into that spot. But Lazy, as they've shown, the points are just flowing like water here.
Yeah. And as you see, they were able to jump up that main core area. There were about 4 doors, 4 garage doors. So that would have been 2 C4 apiece that this team would have had to use to go through. But the home team was nice enough to just leave those doors open for them.
Yep, open doors are not best to have when there is a whole team raiding you. You want everything in your defense to go your way. And DK is going to try and help, but Amazon is going to be the next to be eliminated. Sasa is actually going to take that one. We talked about how much Sasa needed that successful raid, and they will get it. They're going to be, putting themselves in the running. Maybe not into the first or second place slot, but, only about 20 points behind from Def. And, you get 1 or 2 more raids, like you said, off in this last hour. It is definitely a possibility that you can come back and win this.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the part too where you'll start to see it slow down a little. Maybe somebody used a lot of rockets on one base, and then they're having to go maybe to launch site or any of the other areas to get more boom.
That's very true. It's also the fact that as the less experienced teams start to get eliminated, it's going to be more and more and more experienced teams as the timer goes on. So those bases are most likely going to be harder to raid. You're going to put up a harder fight. And it's going to take you more time, like you said, just in general, to get that raid off. If you get it successful at all, because they are so experienced, your targets are going to be limited and more limited as time goes on. These rockets are just raining down from above, taking down so many walls here. Continuing on the raiding here is going to be 2 teams looking to take down. It looks like BFF and their base. And this raid does continue with Punk on the side.
Yeah, and they're doing quite a bit of damage on here. It looks like kind of the newer style Advent calendar, maybe the tunnel through the walls. So you have door after door on each one of those triangle pieces. It's a little bit hard. It looks like he's trying to get a quick way in by taking out the foundation. Maybe hoping to be lucky about taking out a floor of a TC, but you'd hope the builder didn't put their TC in that spot.
Yeah, you definitely hope that, you know, to put it low to the ground, they'd make sure that there was a position a little bit higher so you just can't get foundation wipe, like you said. Take out a large portion of that base, but as it stands right now, the base is taking a lot of damage, some high quality on the outside down towards the low portion of it, but it is like some Swiss cheese. A couple of holes down through it on both sides, and definitely some airflow is what it's going to have on through it. BFF, they're doing it, just trying their best to try and defend here, but you know, it's 2 full teams. That is possibly 12 players raiding you at once. That is not going to be a lot of fun for the team inside. You can see them even sending some players out to try and get some flank kills, but overall, this is a really rough scenario with the Rockets continue to rain down.
It is a tough job for them. They are trying to rebuild, and as you can see, those rockets that are hitting that newly built wall, it is not at full health. So it's going to take them, it's preventing more damage being done to that area from any new rockets, but it's not going to hold up.
The rockets will rain down. The C4 are going to start to explode here. Neff, though, look at the scoreboard once again. They have just found a way to close the gap, jumping over even Messi, and this time they are now within very much striking distance. 12 or 13 points is only the thing that stands between them and Lays, pretty much what Lays got from that attacking phase. And you know, Messi, they've kind of fallen out, they've slowed down a little bit. Sasa also looking to be in striking distance. You can see Neff on an 8 kill streak. Artidom is there. He's doing a good job getting PvP kills and continuing this. They are unrelenting, cutting the lead down to under 10 points.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the interior. So it looked like the main exterior of the base was completely metaled up, but you see these thatch walls and frames. So they didn't finish a little bit. Not that it has stopped them from going in, but that little extra, if they had put more garage doors right in that center area, you want to slow these teams down. You don't want them to go through your base like a knife through butter. I mean, it's like you want them to have to stall and give yourself a chance to go out and stop them from moving farther in your base.
Yeah, that's the whole point of building a good base, is just to give yourself a chance to try and mount that defense and try and slow them down as much as possible. But looks like you said, there's no slowing these teams that want to get inside here. They're trying to do everything they can to defend, but really rough. The Rockets are coming through. The shots, though, are nice on the other side, able to take some more kills. And once again, I mean, this raid is important to decide who the points go towards. We'll see who can end up finishing it off. But right now, I mean, FFX is kind of the furthest inside of the base, and you know, for FFX, this cannot be understated how big this raid is. Once again, we talk about time starting to dwindle, 54 minutes roughly, and if FXX gets this base, they will once again, you know, put another team into the running, put another team up into that, you know, they already are in the top 5, but right there in case one of the top teams slip out.
Yeah, and we have BFF is still trying to repair the base, and the fact that they keep doing it up top, I don't know if it's because they can't get lower for them, or if that's where they want to protect the most. It's interesting whenever they start to do these last-minute repairs, if they're trying to protect something, or if they're just trying to stop the main rockets from happening.
That is true. They're trying to either protect that top floor, if like you said, maybe they just can't get down to the bottom floor. Maybe that it's just too much of a hazard zone for them to walk into, but I would assume it's most likely up towards this top. We'll see what these C4s can accomplish here on the side of FXX. Gonna unlock some loot crates, maybe some booms and take home with them at the same time. But a lot of these garage doors stacked on together, just 2 C4, like you said, able to blow it up. It is a jump up for them to access, so it looks like even higher is where they want to go with this access. Gonna give them kind of near almost a roof access here and find out some more beds. So overall, not a bad garage doors right open. But, you know, they're gonna have to continue. They're gonna have to keep on looking, realizing that TC is not 100% behind that door.
Yeah, and they still have these other tunnel hallways to go through, so I'm assuming that's probably where the TC is. but it takes a lot of work to get through it.
There it is. It looks like Obita is going to be eliminated. Neff is going to be the team to do it. They are going to put themselves into first place position. They were right there with Lays before this TC, and now they are spread far apart and retaken first place. 40-point lead. What a good job to take down the base.
That was a very good job by them. I don't know if they're aware that the team was taken, or if they... Oh, I know we're still on this.
Yeah,
that was a different base.
That was a different base.
I was like, I saw a member of Nafrika here, so I was like, wait, was this the one?
I believe this is BFF's base. Not 100% sure, but FXX, yeah, they're the closest to try and take that, but lead going to separate even more. Neff now, I mean, like you said, they have a chance to walk back here and maybe yoink this base from the hard work that has been put in from FXX, but big base for them to take. Starting, obviously, the leaderboard going to start to dwindle on teams on who you can raid. FXX trying to dwindle it even more by taking out this team of BFF, and we talked about it. This raid is even more huge now for them. I mean, they're 140 points behind. It's a lot to make up, but it's a good start to get this DC, but you don't want to waste all this resources, all this time just for someone to come and take it.
Yeah. And I do happen to enjoy like these hallway ones. It just slows them down too. Where that first team that we saw the advent calendars, that guy just did a run and gun where he just threw C4 on each door and ran through. These have to stop, wait for that one to explode before putting see him hopping down levels to try to get multiple done at once, but it's still a slower process than the other ones would have been.
It's a little bit slower, obviously takes some time. We saw that first base, like you said, they just C4, C4, C4 onto literally every single door. Sadly, it took them towards the last door to get that TC finally behind, but yeah, they did find it, and they did do a good job of getting that done really quickly. But slowing it down, like you said, they can't be near that C4 blast, or else they'll take some damage of their own, and you have to wait for that C4 to go off before you can another before you can get it even further. So we'll see if it is down this hallway, or we'll see if they did waste some more. But I mean, they've cleared a lot of this base. I mean,
yeah,
gonna be behind this hallway though.
Yeah, there's not much left to that other than these halls. So I think they're just gonna find one and get lucky in one of these hallways before another team can. But I believe that any rockets or C4 thrown by your own team or yourself doesn't do damage to you. So it's like that whole, you don't take team damage. But any other player, if they throw a C4, you kill them, but you don't clear the area, you're dead. We saw that happen in last week's. It's really funny.
Yeah, it very much is, but I mean, talking about the leaderboard, Neff has extended their lead still. I mean, the PvP points just seem to be flowing in for them. 310 is what their total score will be at the moment. 45 ahead of that Lays team. It's just huge for them. I mean, we talked about coming back. That Lays and Messi's team are both putting in work, but have both slowed down just a little bit. But still time. I mean, there's still 50 minutes for these teams to, raid each other. And we haven't talked about it much, but as time goes on, as it gets closer towards the end of the raid phase, those top teams, the target on their back is going to get larger and larger and larger.
For sure. Looks like somebody may be getting frustrated and just tossing down C4, or this could be the team trying to despawn some. Usually you see that from the roof down, you're just going to core the whole place, you just drop it. And that could be what this... This is messy. Okay.
Needs a base raid, needs a successful one here to try and keep themselves in the running. And like you said, it seems like maybe this team is just kind of walking in fresh to the base, doesn't necessarily know where everything is, doesn't necessarily know the layout, so just throwing some C4 down the core, trying to do some damage to everything, and moving themselves up to what it looks like actually a large area. It's just going to be some garage doors that can get destroyed here. We give them access to pretty much what everyone else knows, that this base is in shambles, this base does not have a lot left, and only through these hallways are going to be there to defend.
Yeah. I mean, that does give them access to see. It's taking away the other team's ability to jump up through that main area, which is it's good for them. But at the same time, you're doing damage, wasting, or using C4 just to get an idea of what's been gone through already.
It's a little bit of a waste, but see, they have some of the waste. They haven't spent as much as FXX on this entire base. FXX, you gotta get this one soon. Honestly, there are a lot of teams that have recognized this base is weak, this base is not looking too good, and they are picking up steal it from you, ultimately all your time and resources just to fall flat here. Messi would love to take this. Messi, I mean, getting this one to jump themselves into second place would put themselves in possibly a winning position to take another base, but still approaching this halfway point of the raid phase. You know, this is where you have to start to make good decisions, where your time becomes even more important because it's going to start to run out quicker than you can expect.
Yeah. We do still hear a lot of fire fight happening inside. The booms have slowed down a little bit. So we still see some doors. We have the exterior door that he made sure to close behind him, which was very nice. But he was killed before he could do anything.
Closes the door, but pays with their life here. Emperor also here. There are a lot of teams that want a piece of this base, and for BFF, I mean, trying to just hold down, trying to do what they can to repair, trying to get everything back up, but there is just so many teams here that it is going to be hard to defend against it. And you can see, I mean, there's so many top teams here too that are just looking for those easy points, looking to try and maybe come in and steal it. FXX, you got to try and get this soon. There are so many teams there that just increases the possibility that, you know, it's going to be stolen away from you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I started hearing rockets on the exterior one that doesn't look like any damage has been done, just to get an idea of what's already been taken care of. But looks like now they're just going to run in, grab kits, come in.
Some of those kits, grab some of those guns, a graveyard on the outside, but it can be destroyed here on the inside. Some rockets coming through the side of FXX. They're the team that is most knowledgeable right there. And beautifully, FXX, the rockets connect right there on the outside. And after all of their hard work, it will pay off. 4 or 5 teams there, they will get those 40 points.
It was a valiant attempt. I mean, that base lasted probably a lot longer than it should have. So that was a good defense.
I don't know whose base this is. This might be Neff's base.
Yep. Looks like it. So after getting that TC and taking first, Lays and one move have decided to come pick on them.
Yeah, the target growing on their back. Lay's trying to eliminate their competition and give themselves a little bit of a lead. It's a good plan, and they're being helped out by one move who is put some good rockets down into this base. They are already in here, actually. I mean, this base, compared to the top team, it doesn't look the strongest right now. I mean, obviously, a little bit of squares, a little bit of advent calendar going on, but they have that large outer compound wall that allows for easy access, and they are eliminated. Jeez. I mean, they just found it. They just stole it.
Yeah.
The top team's gone. Words.
It's hard. And that was Lays that did that.
Going to be huge for them. Taking out the #1 team. Also giving themselves a good chunk of points to separate themselves from the pack. Now, Lay's going to be about 80 points ahead of any other team. Now the question becomes for Lays, does the target shift to you? Do you now have a big target on your back?
Yeah, we see them still engaging in one move, who is currently sitting in 7th. It's also another good team. But they were also trying to get through that base before Lays did and did not complete it.
As we can see, I mean, the map is starting to dwindle down. Not as many teams as we definitely started with, so it's going to start to come down to, you know, who can survive, who can be there at the end. Because if you survive, you're probably getting top 5, top 7 at this point with how many teams that are going to be blown up. But you know, like we said, as time goes on and on, it's going to be more and more experienced teams. Those raids are going to take even longer.
Yeah, and you're having to travel farther distances to find a raid. Unless you could just kind of move this, go over to a neighboring raid that's still standing. But yeah, you have to gather your resources, go out and find another place.
The planning needs to be a little bit better. Make sure you have all those resources there. But Laser just going to finish up a couple of these kills here, retaking their first place position. Obviously, Neff going to be eliminated and out of the running. So for Laser, I'd like to see where they go next. If they maybe try and defend, or if they continue, if they try and go out, take another one of those bases close to them. Like you said, it's going to start to have to be, travel to further distances. Make sure you have a great plan going into it, and make sure that you could, honestly, getting those like half raid bases up to make sure you have those beds and respawns and kits available are going to be that much more important.
Yeah, it looks like Victims is trying to place a raid platform. They kind of half-walled themselves off. It's not a complete wall off, so it's still legal. It's still kind of funny though. Oh, they're getting close. Don't do it.
Good. But obviously, you get one exit. Smart to have walls all around. It does protect, but it also makes it easy for, obviously, this team to know where you're coming from. There is only one exit to exit from, so see what they can do. Sasa is the team that is kind of looking towards this team, putting some shots down. FXX also in the area. They're making sure that they're going to try and swing out to try and get rid of this raid platform, because it's a danger to both of these teams if this team can just set up and get unlimited raids because they are that close.
Oh, that was a nice wall. Sasa still making some trouble. Oh, and he's gone.
Yeah. XX doing a good job finally clearing those players out, and they could respawn, they could try and get a kit, but probably is futile at this moment. And now we look over to, I believe this is Lay's base, and it is Messy on the outer wall here. So Lay's now becoming a target of their own. Messy, I mean, this is actually a really good choice. I like this from Messi that, if they take down Lays, once again, it's the same situation that we had from the Neff team, that if you take down Lays, you take out the #1 team, and you create a large gap between you and the next place.
Yeah, looks like they are retreating though. I don't know if they were just hoping Lays was still going to be gone at that raid and they'd have a chance to get over here and do some damage. But it looks like they returned too quickly for them and they've retreated.
A little bit of a retreat here as they'll try and get reset and get out. Like you said, it could have been just the thought that, they're away, it's possibly a free raid, but Lays will mount up a pretty good defense here. And I believe there's only 6 teams, I believe, left alive now on the map, so only a few possibilities to raid. Yeah, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 in total.
Looks like 8 and 1 is currently being raided.
So not a lot of targets left.
No. It definitely is slowed down here, but it's just about making sure you have enough resources. And I still see beds out. I'm curious if Lays is going to clear all that up, so it'll prevent Messy or whoever's beds those are from respawning.
That would be a question. Clearing out those beds can be a really, really good thing, like you said, to make sure they don't respawn, make sure they don't cause any trouble. Trouble is obviously brewing between these two teams. They've been really, really consistent throughout the day. I mean, we've seen Messi, we've seen Lays both up there really close to the top of the leaderboards. Right now, obviously, Lays done a good job of just keeping up with those PvP points, keeping up with those raids, and honestly picking their targets really well, taking out that #1 team of Neff and taking that first place spot.
Yeah, we have 619 being a little sneaky, seeing if he can come get a gun and take care of the Lays member. But I have a feeling like if he spots him, he's dead, no matter if he's kitted or not.
Yeah, no, for sure. If you don't have a gun, you're spotted, you are done for. But just trying to steal one of the kits here is one of the players, Messi. So see if they just go get that done. Gonna make a mad dash across and looking for a kit. None in the bags there. Trying to check all of them here. Looks like just nothing. Cannot find anything here. It's so sad. There's a gun on the ground right there.
Yeah, there's some guns. Maybe not the guns they want. I know typically AK is what everybody tries to use. It's very rare to uh,
HP.
get other weapons.
Yeah, the dipping and dodging here, just trying to go find some sort of anything to work with here. It's a sad day, trying to wall up at HP. Oh,
That was a nice pushback by Lays, and they did get some defense points from that, which only increased their #1 position and the distance between Messi, who were trying to come pick on them, but it didn't work out for them.
they were trying to come pick on them. Messi, I feel like, just sending a few players at once is not going to work. You're going to have to send your full force towards this Lay squad if you want to get anything done. Lay's dealing with a member of Sasa out near those POIs, so just making sure they split their resources accordingly. This time it's going to be Punk, it looks like, who are going to be sending some resources over to try and fly onto a base. Don't know which one they're aiming for just yet, but looks like they will fly on. They're going to lose some players in the process, but they will land this helicopter, and I don't know if this is their base or another base, but we'll see here. We'll check here. It is Punk's base, so they're just coming back home.
Yeah. Looks like one move is pushing out of their base a little bit. Maybe just taking on some free kills. Or just those extra points, because those do help in the long run.
They definitely do. So, gotta be at home. Gonna try and reset and see if they can get something done. Maybe try and take out one move could be the move to do, because obviously, like I said, only eight squads are left here. So, very limited in what you can do. Punk obviously gonna take a lot of damage from from that aerial, they can't really fly out with one move right next to them. So we'll see if one of these teams do decide to maybe walk over to each other, maybe try and fight it. But right now they're just roof peeking, they're just trading some shots and seeing what they can do. Maybe they can just sneak a kill here or there.
Yeah, I mean, you get to this point, you don't really have much left. We only see 3 members of Punk, so I'm curious if they're scouting other possible targets, but one move is all at this base, so it looks like they're gathering all and maybe take that Scrappy out to go do something, or just go after their neighbors if they piss them off enough.
That's very true. Also, if they know, like you said, if they know there's only 3 members inside the base, could be an advantageous raid for them. But like you said, this comes to a point where, if you've been raiding a lot, if you've been using a lot of those resources, that they could start to dwindle if you've not had, the ability to steal some boom from other places. You might have to go out and, farm for just a little bit more to get yourself over that hump that, if you're running low on resources and you can't fully get a raid off, someone just comes in and steals it. It's like, it's all for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and which is what one move had run into the issue. They were over with Lays, but at that other target. But whenever they did that, they were all killed off, and they left all of their raid stuff there. Nobody was able to escape with it. So either they F1'd or they just left it there, and nobody can use it. And so that's a loss for them. And you hope that somebody actually thought ahead and left stuff in the base. But sometimes you just use what you have and didn't plan on having another raid, but you're forced to.
And I was wondering where the other members of FXX were, and they are over here on the outskirts, going to be fighting here in the split biome base. It's going to be Emperor, who are once again going to be a target by 2 different squads this time. It is Victims and FXX who are both trying to prioritize this base, sending some rockets down, doing a lot of damage towards the top and mid floors here. Emperors, they've defended once. Can they defend again?
I don't know. We have Victims are over here and doing quite a bit of damage just to breach into the base.
Damage this lower side, maybe aiming for those foundations. Take a piece of the base off, take it with you. Maybe try and find a hole up inside, but like we were talking about, Emperor did defend before. This time, though, with 2 teams now on their side, FXX and Victims both trying to raid this one, they can defend against possibly 12 players looking to take them out.
Yeah, so they're already doing quite a bit of damage. They're still moving forwards with the foundations, maybe just trying to breach into the core. I'm not sure, because they could have easily gone after a door, laddered in, and started working their way through advent calendars, but it seems like they have a plan.
Either that or they're just trying to foundation. Like they said, heck with this. We're not breaking through any of the base. We're gonna destroy you from the bottom up and just take down chunks of that base at a time, which it is very expensive, but I would say effective.
Yeah, it can be very effective. With this big chonker of a base, I mean, I wouldn't want to found you one. That's gonna, they haven't collected that much. But I mean, they're doing quite a bit of damage. It was like a secure spot for them, where they could move in silently without anybody else seeing them from the outside. But it's still slow moving.
That's a little bit slow moving. We're going to take down more of that foundation here, and I think honestly, that is the goal here from this victim squad. Is they're just going to continue to blow up this foundation, take down large chunks of this base with them. But like you said, it's a very expensive way to take down the base, although effective. The question comes down to, did victims collect enough boom to get the whole foundation of this massive base dead?
Well, they haven't been really active, and they do live out by themselves near launch sites. So I'm wondering if they just went ahead and had somebody out farming this entire time while the few of them are out running, because they've already destroyed that whole side of the base.
They destroyed half of the underside, it looks like, already. I mean, chunks flying off left and right of this base, and victims, they're doing a good job to make sure they have one player with a gun out, making sure that, you know, they are not caught with their pants down when, you know, they have those rockets and those C4s out. So, two different strategies are going to emerge, though. FXX looks like they're going to take down part of the mid floor. Looks like victim's going to take the bottom. Also, if you notice, there are players of Messi behind FXX. I don't know if they've built a base back there or if what they've done, but it looks like now there are 3 teams in the mix and a perfect, beautiful flank. It looks like they flew over.
Yeah, they're moved up on FXX, probably destroying those beds, and that's unfortunate for FXX. But if they can stay alive inside and continue doing damage, they might get lucky.
The possibility for sure. Messi, one of the teams that, again, needs a base range to try and catch up. I mean, Lays, their lead has been extended by a lot here. As we are approaching the 30-minute marker, the 1/3 time left here in this raid phase. Lays has still done a good job, just extending, taking down their only opponent at the top of the leaderboard, and the lead is now like 100 for Messi to try and catch up to. They need to try and get something, and this is a good start, you know, like you said, to take down the beds of another team, to try and get in, try and steal the work of what Victims has done. But foundation wipe, I don't know if it will go all the way through. Like you said, could have had a perfect farming that up the whole time, but it's actually going to be a counter raid. Sasa
is pulling, I mean, now Victims, do they continue with the raid that they're currently on with how much damage they've done, or do they come back and fight? And looks like 3, maybe 4 are back.
Yeah, they're gonna have to, looks like you said, it could send a couple players back, make sure this can get fully defended, and that's gonna stall their raid on towards Emperor, and that means Messi, the door possibly open for you to take this one out. A lot of foundation broken open. I mean, you can see FXX, they're still trying. They got a player in here trying to rocket, trying to take down the advent calendar doors. And Victims, I mean, this one is gonna hurt, like you said. Very expensive foundation wipe, and they invested a lot to take down the bottom of the base. It's gonna feel bad if it gets stolen.
Yeah, it does feel bad, but at the same time, they're still in here. They're still damaging. Looks like they're continuing with their foundation wipes rather than going for the doors, which is interesting. I mean, I applaud the tenacity and then just keep going, but at the same time, I'm like, eeh.
I do like just seeing chunks of the base fly off. That's worth the most entertaining thing, but you know,
absolutely.
Maybe not the best method to take down the base, but you know, it's entertaining. It's good for us to see at least.
Kills the frames, but other than that, it's fun to watch.
We're hitting it again. Chunks fly off the base.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, still a lot of teams in the end.
Yeah, FXX has also been running in on a horse. That means Messi most likely got rid of all of their beds, so he's just returning to see what he can do in this base.
We're just taking a nice little horse ride, a nice little adventurous nature journey, but Yeah, like you said, still a lot of teams here. FXX possibly with no beds because they were cut out from the back side. So Mace did a good job to do that, and it looks like Victims, they did have to back up here because Sasa has already broken through the outer compound wall and already taken some rocket shots on towards Victims base.
Yep, the roof is still secure, but they have made their way. They're trying to take out that turret.
Yep, just trying to take out the turret, make sure they can have free access inside here. Sasa has found themselves a way inside the door here. Gonna get some kits back, actually, from those outer bodies, and yeah, it's kind of an interesting little base. You know, the top 2 floors of a roof are kind of very much open, so they have some turrets, some beds, and other things up in this top portion. So you have to assume the TC's in the bottom part, but, you know, it does give them a nice little shooting floor, some nice little angles, but, you know, once teams are inside, I don't know how beneficial this top part of the roof will be.
Yeah, I mean, other than preventing people from coming in.
Oh.
FXX took out Emperor.
Yeah, it ends up not getting stolen from them. They end up taking it on themselves. FXX, that's going to be huge for them. Second place now for them as jump ahead of Messi. Messi was in there also saw Victims. I mean, that one has to feel bad, but at least they gave us a little bit of a show.
Yeah, but now Victims can all focus on this since that is no longer an option. They can work on defending this raid. Although,
I guess
never mind.
No raid to defend here, as Victims will be the next to be eliminated. All of a sudden we drop from 8 teams down to 6 teams. 26 minutes left here, as you know, like we talked about, it was pretty much a bottom heavy base for Victims, and it will end up falling. Both of those teams on the outskirts are going to fall, meaning that, you know, the bases are going to actually get a little bit closer together on where you have to travel to. You don't have to travel all the way towards those outskirts, but again, only 6 teams left here. I mean, you got to start picking your targets good, because everyone, I mean, if there's a base going on, I feel like everyone is going to try and get in on that raid.
Yeah, it does look like Punk is making a move on one move. I think they attempted to move that Scrappy, but I believe it got hit by a rocket and then a poor landing and is gone.
It looks like to be on this side. Rest in peace to the Scrappy. We'll have a burial for it and have a whole funeral and everything. But yeah, it looks like some moves being made by both Punk and One Move. Lays also is in the area, so they want to get some action going here. But I mean, you can see just the trench warfare going on between those two other teams. But yeah, I mean, Lays, they are starting to walk over. They are, you know, not letting these bases go for free, and they are once again not just stopping, not just sitting at the top. They know that FXS, they know that other teams are trying to catch up, so they are looking to continue some raids, and might help them out with this one.
Yeah, it's definitely distracting One Move. They're focusing all their attention over on this side, giving Lays a chance to set up their raid beds and move forward. We still do have rockets coming in.
Yeah, rockets for sure. Lays slaying some of the One Move members on the outside, and now some rockets going to come down. Still the outer compound wall holding a little bit strong, but a couple rockets, a couple of C4 will blow those up. We'll see what they can do to try and defend One Move now. Gonna have to watch 2 different directions as face a couple of the top teams are gonna take them out here.
Yeah, they've slowed down. It looks like a lot of them had to put away their rockets, go ahead and fight off One Move that did push out. But that was an unfortunate rocket. Looks like they're trying to get some repair work done.
Looks that way. They're just trying to get everything built back up before they know inevitably these teams hop on the raid. And I mean, all this sound being made, you have to assume that even more teams might come. I mean, there's 6 teams left alive now. 3 of them are in this area. So if you are another team, you know, why not hop yourselves on? Why not give yourselves another chance to, you know, not only take out another team, give yourself a higher placement, and, you know, maybe give yourself the opportunity to steal it from someone else.
Absolutely, and looks like One Move decided to rocket the raid platform Lays had set up, or they had started to set up, and so they are walled off. Had to be pushed back a little bit more than they were.
Push back just a little bit.
Not getting a lot of consistent rockets. Like, they're not targeting one area. They seem to be just kind of clearing out things like these beds and maybe trying to spot a turret. They are opening that up, but Ed Tripler is going to go ahead and wall again.
It's just raining down fire, maybe not the most consistent. They are trying to build up some, you know, protective walls to maybe protect from a rocket shot or two, to protect the bed, to protect everything on this roof. But there's starting already to be a hole in this side. It's just going to be the outer face when we start to blow up. It's like we said, an advent calendar base on the inside, but they are focusing heavily towards Punk. Like you said, Lays has been pushed back, but now they are going to push up towards this base. They're on the outer compound wall, and they're looking to find a way in.
Yeah, and if you saw a little while ago, the thatch that was deleted, they're not allowed to just throw up thatch walls and like just to block one rocket. They need to go ahead and like make an attempt to improve the material. It's just to prevent, because somebody could sit there all day long and just keep building thatch and stopping a rocket. And I think that's one of the newer rules that they stopped.
Make sure that you can't just keep on, like you said, just thatch, block a single rocket every single time. But it continues. I mean, there's still rockets being laid down from the other side, and Lays hasn't really made a move to put any rockets down. Interestingly, I think they're trying to maybe save their rockets for the inside, but Punk, they are moving up here. One move has moved some players out to the outside to try and hit a flank angle, but Punk has opened up this outer compound wall, and they're gonna look for a way inside this base.
Yeah, and we do have two one-move area members on that side who are aware of this opening, and now we're looking for the culprit.
Looking for the culprit here. One move, though, they're going to be clear now. Trying to make sure no one can get close to their base. And honestly, really well defended here. 20 minutes left is what these teams will have to earn some points. Lay's still sitting heavily in top. And it is going to be FXX, who is once again going to be a thorn in the side of another team. It's going to be a fight between them and Punk up on this upper snowy side of the hill. And one move they're happy about this. I mean, this takes some pressure off of them. This lets them relax for just a little bit. I mean, you can see the Punk members respawning. The Punk members, their base has a perfect angle towards the Lays members. So it is just all in all a bloody battle.
Yeah, and we do have Lays going ahead and shooting some rockets, and we have Messi coming in too.
It's a party.
Yeah, I'd probably go pick on Lays.
Yeah, that top team. Such an interesting point that they have such a big target on their back because they're so far ahead. And any team, I mean, it's close behind them. Like FXX, Sasa, Messi, any of them, if they were to take out Lays, they would be the #1 team. They would win this entire thing. But instead, I think, I don't know, just trying to focus on getting 40 points, maybe get a moral victory here at the end. I would, like you said, I would focus on Lays, but teams want to focus other places.
Yeah, especially if they've already invested into it. We have Sasa looking at Punk's base. We're making a very wide flank. I'm not sure what they're doing yet. And yeah, Sasa is back there, walled off. They're in a fight with FXX.
Oh.
You really want to rocket that? You don't want to save that for a possible raid target?
No. That's the most important rocket target ever.
Yeah.
But it seems like every team is here, so one move going to be in the central region of this rocket barrage from all these teams. It looks like right now going to be the teams that, you know, we're up on that snowy hill, continue to rocket down. Messi is here though. Messi a chance to maybe step back up. They've been, you know, they were right there with Lays for a little bit of that raid phase at the beginning of it, and you know, they started to fall out. They started to, you know, slow down on their points. If I were them, honestly, like we talked about, I would focus on Lays, but you know, they have already invested some rockets, invested some time here, so we'll see how far one move can, you know, defend. They're gonna get a lot of points in this.
Yeah, with 18 minutes left, I mean, you kind of, the move I see a lot is you see somebody raiding somebody, they're like, let's just go there, maybe we'll get lucky. It's the Hail Mary at the end of the play, I mean, at the end of the game. It's just something you gotta do. Maybe you can pull one off and get it there before everybody else does, and you might not win the tournament, but you definitely secured your second place or third place spot.
You can hit those counter raids, can be more beneficial here, but we'll see what can be beneficial for one move as Rockets just gonna come come in from literally every single side, players from all sides. It's all 6 teams are here, whether they are defending or attacking on this base. It's going to be one move, just trying to hold down, trying to do what they can. We saw them trying to repair, but it's just really tough. It's hard to focus on everything in one swing. There are this many teams in here.
It is, and if Messi continues shooting this area, it's going to shut down. Was this Messi over here on this side? I can't remember. Yeah. If they keep shooting on the... that was a cool shot. If they keep on this side, I mean, they're going to take out the roof, the cover that one move has up on that roof. But Ed Tripler has like a nice little peek there in that door, although he's trying to go over there and rebuild now.
Trying to rebuild, trying to get this all set back up, and it is a big base, so it is taking some decent amount of rockets to destroy all the way through and through, but Joker is going to be the player to start to repair those walls and make sure, like you said, they're not that, just make sure they're fully repaired and make sure that, you know, they can block those rocket shots, but importantly, they do take some time to build up, they do take some time to, you know, gain their health back.
Yeah. And it looks like a couple members of Punk went around to the Lay's side, and it looks like FXX has moved down to where Punk was, so they may be engaging more, and that's why One Move is able to focus more on Messi now and work on the rebuilds over here because they are distracted up north.
Yeah, it does seem that way. They're just going to be a thorn trying to get as much damage as they can here. Continuing to build up, continuing to protect Joker, trying to repair those walls in time, but it is just not going that way. Rocket's going to continue to land, continue to just pelt it in towards this base. As a one move, they've done actually a really good job considering there are 5 teams in the area. I mean, they've done a good job to defend from multiple different sides, and Joker, of course, being a very, very experienced player, able to build those walls up very quickly. Hopefully, you know, get them back to their full luster.
He's trying to get in. You saw him try to high qual. I mean, it's a strategy. It's like you go through, you put that as much as possible, but you need to upgrade. And he starts doing that occasionally. They broke it into the wall. But who knows? Maybe Messi will be trying to move in.
And we'll see if they try to push in a little bit forward. Outer compound wall also broken in, but you know the fighting up on that hill really has not benefited any of those teams, and it's actually going to be these that were a target for a second, it looks like. Had to come back to their base.
I saw a member of FXX that had pushed in a little bit and laddered in, but he was taken care of. But now I think they're done now. They may go just to have some more PvP points for fun, or maybe go mess with somebody else.
They don't really need to go out. I mean, FXX maybe is the only real target that if FXX does get a TC that they could maybe catch back up to Lays, but it is still, you know, if you can get some defense, obviously they're going to get some defense points from that. You can pretty much just hold down for these final 15 minutes of the raid phase, watch everything else unfold, and make sure that you are the top team at the end of it.
Yeah, and you can see some of the Lays members returning. They were like, oh, it was a false. Let's just go back and see where this raid is. And I like that. They're not just sitting back and going, yeah, we are in the lead, we need to stop. No, they keep pushing forward, which is great to see.
It's great to see. I mean, they're 60 points ahead. It could be a miracle from FXX, but you want to make sure that no miracle is available for that. So you can just disrupt it. Even if you aren't getting the TC, if you can just disrupt the ability for FXX, teams like Sasa, to get this TC, then you can disrupt and hold down and win that game. But, you know, like you said, not just holding back, making sure they can buy the book, get back, clear out if it was a full raid, and then come back here and try and finish this one off.
Yeah, and the more they take care of these outer walls, these honeycomb hallways, the roof is gonna be open. So you'll have anybody with guns out there can start taking shots on one move.
Definitely can try to hit those as well, but Rockets will continue here for Messi as they try to get some extra walls down here, just trying to put in the work before they do walk on in. Punk, I believe, is the closest member inside of the base. Punk did some damage towards it. Actually, Punk, we have a few I believe, so Punk's gonna have to try and clear those players out of the base and clear them on out, but this outer compound wall fully destroyed, and this corner of the wall is going to also be destroyed. So it is a pretty massive base, but there is a player of Punk inside.
Oh, wasn't paying attention.
Not anymore. Gonna be a good kill there for one to recognize that player inside of the base, but you know, it's just gonna be rockets. It's just gonna be messy, just making sure that they can make a mess of this base and just start to tear it down and start to open it up. Maybe start to get a feel of this design. It's gonna be repairs once again. One good job of making sure they can get at least those walls repaired on up, making sure they can block a rocket or two and just starve out the resources.
Yeah, and somebody with a gun needs to go out and shoot all the thatch that's being put out to save the rockets for their team. Because now he's upgrading, it might be worth to use that rocket instead.
Yeah, have some of those guns on the thatch, have the rockets for the metal, but you know, it is really good. It's a lot of resources actually from one move. They have been repairing for a while. That just surprised me just how much resources this team does have. I mean, they have so much, it seems like, to get this repair off. They've been at this raid. I mean, there's been 5 teams raiding them for what, like 15 minutes now, and still no one's even gotten inside. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they've done a really good job. I mean, they were prepared for raids. The builder made sure to have enough materials and probably in different stacks in different parts of the base just to do this, to get those to the build. Because I mean, sometimes if there are a whole bunch of rockets, you're way down maybe to the bottom level or to the top level is going to be out of the way. So you need to have these different areas where you can have a box with guns, or you see one move, open the door, I was like, and went back.
I'm good. I'm going back inside, guys. You have fun up there. But yeah, I mean, especially like with those experienced players on your team to lead and guide you, like Joker and the company on one move. I mean, such a good builder, such a good base designer, along with being able to have that experience. Oh, you're like a pinata from the sky now, launching out towards the outside here as players from Lays actually get some good kills and some good pressure on towards this, but move sending some players out. I think Joker doing a good job to win those PvP battles. It's a 2 for him. Beautiful job to just hold down this base once again. I mean, 15 straight minutes of defense.
Looks like they're trying to just throw the rockets or C4 out at these walls, open up shots for his teammates. Really good job. Looks like some more raids popping up. So people giving up on this. Maybe just doing like last minute chance FXX. Bringing the fight back over to Punk. Maybe try to pull them away from that raid. Like they try to do with Lays.
Try and pull some of those teams out and away. A lot of red circles going on the map, but obviously that biggest raid going to be focusing on one move, but it really seems like no one can break through the impenetrable armor that they have set up, that is their base, that is their team. And once again, I mean, they have walls destroyed. You know, they've taken a decent bit of damage as rocket barrages have rained down, but I mean, no one's inside. The outer compound wall is in shambles, but you know, there is still no one inside. There's just a few player Blaze, you know, just around.
Yeah, it's like they're poking around, maybe trying to take out somebody who has some boom on them. We did see Messi now is pushing in. Now, if he can get sneaky enough and there we go. Take out that builder, that annoyance.
Take down that repair person, and now Messi, you know, they have an opportunity to get inside. Just gonna be running away from the player with one move. Gotta check your backside here. Firefight will not go the way of one move. So Messi, they get another kill. They'll get inside, and 8 minutes 50 left for them here in this one. They're gonna try and actually ladder up as one move was waiting for that one. Now puts himself on 8.
Yeah, that right there is one of those things. It's like you need to be talking to your teammates and be like, hey, I'm going to be exposed. Go ahead and put me cover down, cover that roof. But we have Punk now. It's sneaky. Look at that little triangle.
A little bit of a interesting little design there, and it's going to be the C4 just going to be thrown on in here from Punk. They have found their way inside here. The move, though, they have the players to win some PvP battles. We have seen it before, so see what they can do. Some shots can be traded here, and they're going to take a napalm doing a good job again, just clearing out any player that decides to step foot in their base. And they have defended once again. I mean, there's still a couple players around, but they're still going to have to hold for 8 more minutes.
Yep. I mean, which is definitely possible. The Rockets seem to have slowed down quite a bit, but their players now are starting to push, which could put a little strain on one move.
Yeah, definitely could. Some of those players trying to, like you said, eliminate the builder, eliminate the team that can repair here. They start to lay down some rockets, some C4. They're going to try and clear out this outer honeycomb here. The first thing they want to do. The inside also is very, very thick, so I'm interested to see whether they put the TC in the maybe core in the center, or if they just, you know, stuck it in one of these outer doors, in one of these outer advent counter doors.
Yeah, there's multiple possibilities there. It seems like they weren't worried too much when they were doing damage to the honeycomb on the outside, but I've noticed less and less that they're on those exterior walls. They're still nice, but okay, pushing in. Nope, nothing.
And it's kind of what put it on that outer wall, because one rocket can blow open that outer wall and can be exposed. Obviously, you can kind of predict where the rockets are going to come from, but you know, we've seen them more and more that they put the TC like teams really a bit more near the inside, because you know, the outside is such, it's really vulnerable. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, and you see these bases week in and week out, only with slight adjustments to them. So a lot of these experienced players can know, okay, more than likely it's going to be on this. And you'll see them just throw down a whole bunch of C4 in one triangle, just because they know this is a really good spot for it.
exactly. They know the bases, they know the builder. Will they find the TC? That is the question. Still holding down. One move has just done such a good job here, defending this base, defending everything, defending right now. 5 teams on them. That's still crazy to me that, you know, they've done such a good job, but, you know, they have the experience. I've talked about that. They have these experienced players that really know.
They're definitely experienced. So still trying to clear them out. The boom has slowed down. There's still some people with C4, it seems like. I tried to break through the center area a little bit more, but it didn't work out. Looks like somebody closed the door, so there's no escape or entrance on that side.
No escape from the one move base, but what they can get done here is they still trying to repair, still trying to hold down this defense. They are not giving up just yet. Now, I mean, approaching 5 minutes left. Time is starting to become of the essence for a lot of these teams late. They're still sitting heavily in this first place spot. You know, I think any other team really needs a miracle to catch up right now.
Absolutely. And they're still getting PvP action, even though they may not be inside of this base with the other teams. They're clearing out other people who did happen to grab a gun, which is great for them. Looks like Messi's beds are being taken out by Punk. I do believe they have another spawn further back near where their Scrappy had landed. I think this was a secondary one, so might not be too bad, but that'll clear them out.
That's the hope. I mean, for one move, that's a blessing. I mean, take out another team that was putting pressure on towards your backside, and Punk has done that for sure. Punk wants to take this base all towards themselves, but repairs are coming through once again. You can see it inside of one move that they just have so much resources built up that they were ready and prepared for this defense. And 4 minutes left. It's honestly looking like they're in a good spot to keep their base alive through the end of this.
Yeah, and they're going to be earning, no doubt, 40 points. With how long this raid has gone on,
yeah.
They're getting an extra 40 points once the game is over.
Won't 100% boost them towards that top spot, but maybe jump them a few places. And, just an amazing feat to have. If you actually defend this fully up towards the end, I mean, that is such a feat. Defending against 5 different teams, 6 players on each of them, for 35 minutes, that is, I mean, that's got to go down in the history books.
Yeah, it's great defense. And they're
Green
still
Company.
at it. I mean, they haven't given up. They haven't just kind of. It's just the constant adjustments. I love to see it.
They are not giving this base up. They are not going down without a fight. Joker and Company, they are still, still fighting, still doing everything they can here. Still a hole in their base, but they are still trying to do it here. Punk, looks like they did destroy the side of Messi. They did make sure that those beds were destroyed. And honestly, like you said, the raid now slowing down, giving time for one move to actually get some of these repairs off, to actually stabilize just a little bit. And Joker gonna actually be able to go outside the walls here and to start to clear out some of these raid bases from the other teams.
Yeah, clear out the raids, maybe pick up a few more kits, prevent other teams from just getting one of those body bags to find something to do more damage and possibly find the TC.
Clear everything out, and you can see even the repairs. They're coming through here on this outer wall to protect, to make sure there is no easy entrance back into this base, and it really only seems maybe two teams in the area now. I mean, Punk and Lays are really the only two teams that have stuck with this, that have been able to survive through the onslaught. And you have to think, I mean, with 5 teams coming, I mean, there were a lot of teams that came from that upper snowy part of the hill that just fought each other instead of fighting one.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems. Like, if you're really trying to take out somebody, you need everybody to be focusing on them and not with each other. Like when you saw Messi and Lays right next to each other going after him, there were no exchange of fire between the two of them. They were all focused on doing that job. But when FXX came across, they distracted Punk. And then one move, and everybody else went after Lays over there, and Messi was still able to do quite a bit of damage, but it was distracting everybody else and gave him a chance to push everybody back, which is great job by them.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, obviously, if you see a player, you got to shoot them. It's not like you can leave them be and so honestly, it was just them pushing off from the same side, and one move I feel like is going to fully benefit from that. I mean, only a minute left that they got to defend. Final push from any of these teams. Got to give it to Lays, though. I mean, their entire game here today was absolutely super. Taking the TCs, taking a lot of PvP points. I'm excited to see how many they have, and the overall defending, too. I mean, overall, a really good team.
Yeah, with 38 seconds left, a couple of Messi's members did actually return, but it's definitely too late for them.
Too little, too late here for any team to try and take this one back. Repairs will come through on that side. Punk gonna try and finish off this base along with Messi. They are going to run on in, but I think it is just too late. I don't think they have time to take down this team of one move, who will most likely be getting a large chunk of points to end out the day. But it is Lays who are going to be on top at the end of it. The timer hits 0. We will see our scoreboard here. Leaderboard, only 6 teams left at the end of it. I believe, like you said, we started with 17 or 18 here. Lays, though, they will be taking home that number 1 position. 413 points.
That's a great job by them. 2 raids completed, 5 raid defenses. I mean, the fact that they were picked on 5 different times, so pulled away from potential raids that they were after, just to come home and defend themselves, which has been a great job by them. It's very good awareness of the situation, and just the PvP, like 258 kills.
So many kills on this Lays team. 258, like you're saying. Raid defenses and raids completed all going in their favor. But the number 2 team, Sasa, they come in, close. 80 points is roughly what they are behind of that first place team. 326. Not too shabby at all. And I mean, to survive in a lobby like this, especially to be one of those teams that, made it all the way to the end, you got to give it to Sasa. Getting that second place and, really pushing towards the mid and late phases of that one to get themselves some TCs.
Yeah, they did a really good job. We didn't see them as active. I mean, we saw them a lot, but they weren't the only focus. They were usually there with other teams. So, but I think they were constantly just in battles with each other. So I'm assuming that their stats were really high as well.
Yeah, I assume so. I mean, Sasa, like you said, they were active, but they didn't necessarily get to finish a lot of those base raids. They were kind of, just there. They didn't necessarily get to finish off get those 40 points. And They will be finishing in that second place. FXX, though, taking third. Really close, actually. I like to see that between second, third, and fourth. FXX going to be walking up with
Mhm.
323. Messi in fourth with 309. But, I mean, also, you got to give it to the defense of one move. They end in fifth. But, man, what a raid defense from them. 35 straight minutes of an
Mhm.
onslaught of rockets, and they find a way to walk out.
They just the communication between all of them. They had people set with their goals. They were like, "You're going to be rebuilding. You're going to move out, push out, try to kill off the people." I mean, it's they were very well organized, and I absolutely love to see that.
Yeah, that's just huge to see. I mean, communication is very key. Obviously, those experienced players, those communication give that leadership towards the team. But I think that's pretty much it. Sadly for our day, I believe our winners of today did have to go to another competition. So obviously they got a full day of rest ahead of them. Hopefully, we wish them luck, and it's been great. It was such a good day. Started from so many teams down to just six. And any final thoughts, Blessed?
Just that it was another great weekend. And besides like little technical issues like the just disappearing. I mean, but it's North America. Everybody expects it. But all I want to say is like if you want to come play, if you want
Yeah.
to are interested in broadcasting or like doing the casting, or you're interested in the production side of these tournaments, or even just being an admin during this tournament, those people who called out there's possible cheaters or whatever else. I mean, join our Discord. Go ahead and be a part of this community. Figure out what's going on. Look at behind the scenes. Try to engage. Or if you just want to go after some of these teams with some of these really great players and put your own skills to the test. Go ahead and do the Discord. If you're looking for a team, there's channels for that. So just go ahead and have fun.
That's a lot of fun. Make sure to join up on that Discord. But talking about the community, such an amazing community. Got to give thanks to every single player that hopped on out here today. 18 squads of them, 6 mans. Also, a huge thanks to our production, Gigi, behind the scenes doing all of that hard work that you guys don't get to see. Also, Twitch chat. You guys were amazing here tonight, popping off, showing all the love. But I think that is mostly going to do it. Congratulations to Lays for taking the first place here in the Rustoria Base Invaders North America. We thank you all so much for watching. Obviously, Llama77 joined here by Blast Right. We thank you so much, and we hope you have a fantastic day, fantastic night, and we'll see you all next time.